All right, guys, welcome back to the shack. And tonight we're going to talk about something that I think everyone that has a shop that uses CNCs and different robots has asked themselves at one point in time. And that is, do I need a 3D printer? Or what good would a 3D printer be to me? Or can I actually use a 3D printer? And so tonight I want to kind of walk you through where I stand on 3D printers and why I think they are going to be the microwave of every house soon. I think we're really close to the point to where every house will have one to make minor things and just to have things around the house. And why I think that if you have the space and the budget, you probably should too. So stick around and we're going to discuss it. All right, so to kind of lay the groundwork for this video, guys, this is just a video that I decided to make. Today I was working out the final touches on some cameras that I'm installing underneath the eave of my house. The cameras are going to be the topic of a video review that I'm doing on them. And when I was installing them, I had to cut little small holes in the kind of the eaves of the house on the siding. To be able to run the cable and stuff through there. Well, the siding's only like 2 millimeters thick, so having a hole cover for that, it's kind of unique. You know, if you go on Amazon, you could find a bunch of different ones, but none of them are really made to be used with a 2 millimeter thick material. So I did what any other guy with a 3D printer and access to some design software would do. I made my own. So that's how this got started. So I'm going to show you the part that got me thinking about this. I designed this today in Fusion 360, and I'm going to kind of walk you through the design process. But first, I want to go ahead, for those of you that may have questions about whether or not you need to move forward with a 3D printer because you've seen some of the nightmares and heard some of the stuff on the internet. I want to clear the air on that. And just kind of lay down the way that I think you should look at it, because I think one of the next big household appliances is going to be a 3D printer. So let me explain that to you. All right, so a lot of you guys may not be old enough to remember back when microwave ovens first kind of hit the scene. Now they've been out for, long time, like 1950s, 1960s. But back then, only the elite could afford to have one in their home. In the early 90s is when they started kind of becoming a household thing that a lot of people, middle class people, started buying and putting in their homes. It took them a minute to get, kind of caught on and for folks to start using them. But now, guys, there's probably isn't a house around that doesn't have a microwave. The days of the toaster oven have gone, and we have brought in the microwaves, the oven of the future. So I think this is kind of where 3D printers are moving to. When 3D printers first came out, they were really expensive. You had to have a degree in engineering, electronics engineering. You had to be really handy to use them. And then, as they've moved up, they've gotten cheaper. But as they got cheaper and consumers could purchase them, they also got to where it was constant, adjusting this, bed adhesion, using glue sticks, and you had to change this and change that and enclose it. And I mean, it was just, you were constantly tinkering. So with all of that work having to be put into it, not a lot of people wanted to get a 3D printer that, just to have it. In order for something to become a household item, it needs to be to where you just hit the button and it does the thing, whatever it is, whether it's a TV, a blender, a can opener, a microwave oven, an oven, a dishwasher, refrigerator. You don't want to have to mess with it. Well, personally, I think we're there for the most part with 3D printing. Now, not every 3D printer. I have had some 3D printers that weren't that beneficial to me. I spent a lot more time working on them than I did printing. But I ended up getting myself this lovely thing here. This is the Bamboo Labs A1. and I went ahead and got the A1 as just kind of like my preliminary fire and forget type 3D printer. Now, there are others on the market. The technology is really advancing around 3D printers, but if you go out into the internet and you research it, Bamboo Lab has kind of established themselves as probably the less hassle 3D printer on the market. Like if I were buying a 3D printer for my mom or for, you know, a small kid, Bamboo Lab would be the printer to buy because it doesn't require a whole lot of added experience or skills to be able to run it. I mean, if you want to just download things and hit print, you could literally do that and be up and going. There are countless places that you can download ready-made 3D printable files, as well as Etsy. I sell files on Etsy, as many other people do as well. So we've gotten to that point that access to the files has become really, like, just as long as you've got internet, you can get those files. The machines have gotten to the point to where you literally put it in there. There's 3 or 4 steps that you need to take and hit print, and you're going to get a good product. Rarely do I have problems with the A1, as long as you keep the filament dry. There's a few things you need to go by, but they are slowly, as the machines progress, they're incorporating things like automatic filament dryers that are built into the machine that keeps your filament dry whether you're using the machine or not. You know, they're enclosing them to be able to, like, keep the filament drier for longer. So I mean, there's a lot of improvements that are being made to make it simpler. But as far as the really low budget machines like the Bamboo Lab A1 and the A1 Mini, you don't have those. But guys, I'm telling you, you get one of those machines and come up with a way to dry your filament pretty regular, you can really make some cool stuff. So what I want to do is just walk over to the computer. I'm going to show you a few things, just kind of walk you around the process and all that. And like I said, this is not going to be a technical video. I just wanted this to be for those folks that were kind of on the fence as to whether or not a 3D printer was right for you, whether you had a need for it. Because guys, being able to print things like this, like you can download this file from me, or you can get similar files on the internet, hit print, and you've got accessories for your laser. If you need to mount your fire extinguisher, whether it's in your kitchen, in your shop, whatever the case may be, you just print your little bracket and you can mount it in the kitchen, you can mount it in the shop, wherever you need to mount it. There are thousands of things that you can print. These are lens covers that I print for my Galvo lasers. I mean, there are things out there everywhere that you can print, and it will make life much easier. So instead of having to scour the world looking for a specific hole hider for your cabling, you just go and draw it up and print it, or download it from somebody that's already drew it up. So let's jump over to software, take a peek at that, and then we're gonna wrap this thing up. All right, guys, since we've talked about it already, first stop is gonna be right here in Autodesk Fusion. This used to be called Fusion 360. They've shortened it now just to Fusion. This is far more software than the average user would need. It's also a bit on the pricier side. So I'm not going to spend a lot of time here. I just want to show you that, like, with this software, you start out, of course, with drawings and sketches. And everything that you build in here first starts with a sketch, and then you extrude it, which is basically just taking that sketch and making it into a 3D shape. Once you do that, then you'll start to see your the different bodies that you've created. And like with this software, I can use this software to design something that is like a 2-piece, like I did with the thing for the cabling. This is it right here, and I can design it to where I've got this piece, and I can also have the inner piece, and I can either look at just the inner piece, or I can look at both. And so that allows you to be able to, like, if you want to know how it's going to fit together, if you design it this way, you can, like, literally zoom into it, and you can, like, check tolerances and look and see, you know, how much of a gap you're going to have here, there. I mean, there's many tools in here. A lot of, like, stress testing equipment, stuff like that. It's way more powerful than any. I haven't scratched the surface hardly in using this software, but it is really, really powerful. If you have the budget and the need for it, this is what I use. So let's put this away, and let's go over and look at some of the easier tools as well as some of the free software. So let me go ahead and hit save on my file. This is the one, like I said, I just designed this tonight, so I don't want to mess around and delete that. So let's get out of there. And the next thing that we're going to look at tonight, I want to show you guys Tinkercad. Now this is from Autodesk, which is the same company that makes the software that I use. It's just a lot simpler. I don't do a lot with Tinkercad. I've got in here and played around a little bit. My buddy Steve over at Ventari's Workshop is much, much better at this. But yeah, you just start with, like I said, you can start with these basic shapes and you can set the parameters and the size of them, and then you just add or subtract shapes. It's pretty neat. You can make some very basic stuff. You can make it, and I've seen some people make some very complex stuff in here, but I started with Fusion and I still use Fusion. So this is another option that doesn't cost you anything to be able to use this. Now, it's like I said, it's a little limited, but just starting out, you can do some really cool stuff with it. So the next one, of course, is the most popular one probably, is Thingiverse. On Thingiverse, there are literally thousands of things that you can, and if something pops up, guys, this is live capture here. There are literally thousands of files in here. So if you wanted a desk organizer for your house, then you could just type in desk organizer and you will get every variation of a desk organizer you can think of. So you don't have to necessarily know how to design files to be able to use a 3D printer on a daily basis. Just like if you needed an SD card holder, like that one right there, you can come in here, type this stuff in. These files are free to download and use. You can tip. I think it allows you to tip the folks if you want to. Thingiverse is one of those community-driven outlets to where people will upload their files for free for you to use. Like I said, you can tip and all that if you want. But yeah, it's a very, very valuable tool to use for, most things. There will be stuff that you can't find free versions of, and you may have to buy it. Like I said, Etsy is one of those places that you can buy stuff from. Also, if you do get into the Bamboo Lab world and you go to, this is their Maker World, this is where they have all of their different things. So we'll do SD card holder on this one as well. So you can find all of these, you can download these and print these as well. This is kind of Bamboo Lab's version of Thingiverse. These files, like I said, you can get the free files. I think there actually are some files in here too that you can purchase or tip the maker as well with some of this stuff. So there's lots of places out there that you can download these files. If you wanted to, let's like make a soap dispenser or a soap dish. Let's do a soap dish. You could literally go on here and search for a soap dish, and you will find a soap dish. So all you really got to do then is, know what filament to use and how to basic operate your machine, and you can print out these soap dishes. If you get the AMS, you can do multicolored prints, or a lot of times you can take the different layers of the print and print them individually and then snap them together. So yeah, so this is what I think is driving the fact that 3D printers are here to stay, and they're only going to get more popular. And yes, if you think you need one or if you want one, I do recommend them. And here is, as you saw in the picture, this is the machine that I'm running. I have looked at upgrading, guys, but I'm having such good luck with the investment that I have that I really don't want to change. So they've been having some pretty good deals. If you look here, the A1 without the AMS is $300. So you get the combo, it's $399. So another $100 you can get the AMS for the 4 rolls of filament. You can also, these pop-ups. You can also get the A1 Mini, which is smaller. Like I said, the work volume is not going to be as big, but you can get the AIM-1 Mini, the combo for $329 or $219 for just the machine with a single roll. So there you go. And they have all the filaments, and you can catch them on sale a lot of times. The filaments typically are going to run anywhere from 15 to 20 bucks for most of the filaments that you're going to be running in this machine or the A1. It's $15 to $20 depending on whether you get a refill, whether you get a spool. But it's really, really affordable if you look at how much filament it takes to print a lot of this stuff. It doesn't take a lot. So let's get out of here and wrap this up, guys. All right, guys, so there you have it. So if you're one of those folks that doesn't care about designing anything, you just want to purchase your files, download them, and print them, then that is very simple, very economical. The time that you're going to spend learning the software or purchasing the software to design those files, if you would rather just pay someone else for their time or download free files, then hey, you've got the most economical way of printing without having to make your own files. But if you're like me, I started out at first just downloading files and printing them and playing with some very basic files and designing those. But as time moved on, I progressed, my skills got better, I started having fun with it, and now there are very few things that I don't design myself. Sometimes, as if their time constraints are pretty strict, I may go ahead and download it from somebody, just buy the file, because it's quicker and cheaper to do. But for the most part, I enjoy actually creating the files about as much as I do being able to print them out here at the house. So people keep asking me. I've had a lot of folks ask me recently. There's been a few people in the community here where I live that, you know, small kids are getting into 3D printing, and these are kids that are small, like really young kids that don't have a lot of technical skills as far as running the computer, but they're actually doing really, really well using the Bamboo Handy app or just getting on the internet and learning and figuring this stuff out. You would be surprised what 8-year-old kids these days are capable of with some of these 3D printers. It's pretty awesome. Like I said, it gives them a creative outlet that you can have like just about anywhere. And like I said, you saw my setup. It is literally in my little makeshift office in the corner of my living room. That's where I do my printing. So there you go, guys. I suspect that within the next couple of years, like I said, 3D printers are going to become more and more popular. They're going to be in most every house around that can, you know, that has the time and the space and the funds to purchase them. So I think that if you're on the fence about getting one, just look around your house and figure out the things that you could download and use. Go on Tinkercad. Just look at what the files are out there already. Go to the Bamboo's website. Look through the files that are there for you to download. See if those files are something that you could use or have fun with, be useful to you. And if so, that might weigh into your decision. But either way, guys, if you do decide to purchase a 3D printer, like I said, I recommend Bamboo Labs. Currently, I don't have experience with too many others. But I do have an affiliate link, and I'll be dropping that down below, of course. But that's all I wanted to share with you tonight, guys. It was just one of those things. I was thinking about it, and people keep sending me emails and asking me, hey, what 3D printer would you recommend? And I've done a few videos, but I've never really just came out and said, this is the one I recommend. And currently, with my knowledge and experience, the Bamboo Lab A1 for the larger print size area, if you don't need that big of a print area, you could always go with the A1 Mini. You're going to have less print volume, but for stuff like this, you really don't need a lot of room. So just figure that out and go check out those links. And until next time, be safe and have a good day.